But this is what I want to show you, and this is kind of what we found in 2016. So this chart, actually, we took some of our target states and we ran a case study after 2016. The first column is the expected turnout percentage. So our data department was within, I believe, 0.1% of expected turnout in the country. So nationwide, they were very accurate on who we knew was going to end up voting. So what we did is after 2016 in January, we took every person who came through Vote.gov, we took all their information and said, could you run that same algorithm that you had and tell us what their expected turnout would have been? So that's those numbers in the first column. The second is then once the secretaries of state came back and said, here's everybody who actually voted, here's the real numbers, we took that same list of, hundreds of thousands of people and said, how did they actually turn out to vote? Did this site work? Did our program work? And what we saw were double-digit returns in turnout lift, which we ran the numbers multiple times because we were actually a little bit nervous that this wasn't right, because digital online, the hit that we always get is that you can't really turn out a voter, right? It's imaginary votes. It's only online people. It's not going to turn into real action. But what we found is that if you get somebody to go through your website early, it's not a magic site. It's get them to go through the site early. You get them on your email list. You're pushing them with emails every day leading up to the election. You're getting them then with ads because you're retargeting them properly. And you're hitting them in all these different ways. You're telling your data department who's coming through so that they can make phone calls.
How are you usually retargeting? What were the most effective channels, or were you able to differentiate among different groups of segment?
The most used is we do Facebook ads. Okay. So we use Facebook ads the most. But being able to take these universes and then upload them to Facebook and make sure that they're on ads, that's a huge piece. Okay. But as well, so it's just making sure there's this holistic feeling of somebody comes through a website online, they don't only live in the digital department. They're not our property. It's, well, political needs this information to make sure that there's somebody knocking on their door making sure they actually return their AB ballot that they requested.
Some of you may notice there are a couple of real important states here.
Yeah, so and we can take a look
cycle, I mean, you've got Pennsylvania, you had a 17% lift in Pennsylvania. And again, we're talking about the people who went to that site. So this is the impact of the site on their likelihood to turn out.
So if you look, Michigan, huge difference there. There's enough people who came through the website that made a difference in the election. I can say that very confidently, that there's enough people who came through Vote.gov who then voted that could have swayed the election. It was that close of a state. And we always talk about digital making a difference in the margins, that it's not going to win 4 or 5 points in an election. You need a candidate and a message and ground game for that. But when you're dealing with 2016, where this was so close, this can help sway it. And I think that's a great argument to be made for why more money should be spent earlier on digital versus any other medium.
Yeah.